Okay, good morning, people. Yeah, today our lesson is going to be introducing you to the HTML web page, simple page design. So that's our presentation for our lecture this afternoon. Okay, so I would like to also take this opportunity to introduce you to the server configuration, how to run these same web pages in servers. Okay, so our server is actually Apache server, which comes with already embedded in XAMPP. Okay, so this is why I asked you in earlier on to install XAMPP on your machines. So when you install XAMPP on your machines, this is what you see when you launch a XAMPP application. Okay, so you find the Apache server there installed. You also find the SQL, MySQL, as one of the components of the XAMPP control panel. Okay, so these two, Apache and MySQL, these are very important components in the XAMPP control panel, and we'll make good use of them as we run all these applications that we're going to build. So make sure that you have this one installed on your computer and it is up and running. Okay, great. All right, so we do this. So when you launch the XAMPP control panel, what you see is this. So you need to make sure that this Apache is running. Okay, so Apache service must be running. Okay, of course, even MySQL it should be running, but in the meantime, this component which of control panel is not going to be in use because we will be dealing with only the presentation layer of a web application, which is our HTML that we're going to start now designing those HTML pages. Okay, so but then it's a good practice to make sure that you always run this service too. Okay, so let's run it. Okay, very good. So this will come about, and when we start we start manipulating also the database. When we come to the third layer of a web application, a three-tier application. Remember that three-tier application that we talked about. So now we are at the presentation. Okay, so our lecture now, okay, is to do with the first layer, the top layer, which is the presentation layer of a three-tier architecture of web application. Okay, good. All right, so it's just a good practice to have it running there like that. Okay, yeah, of course, for some reason it's not running. We'll come to that out where we can troubleshoot MySQL if it's not running. Right, fine. So if you look at also this control panel, you'll find the Explorer here. Okay, so let's click it because it's going to save for use of purpose this button here. So we open it. So when you open it, it actually opens now the XAMPP and the structure of the local server. So it helps us to find where we can be putting all our web applications. So think of this XAMPP installed on a host server where all those web applications that people do or that you want to be accessing, okay, are copied. All those files for the web are copied. They're copied in this XAMPP folder. Now, of particular interest, the more specific folder that we copy to is the htdocs. This one. So this htdocs is the folder that contains all those websites that you see running. Okay, if the server is actually if it's XAMPP, okay, if the application is XAMPP that is used, so all those web applications, all those websites, they are actually copied here. This is where they are placed. So remember this. When you have XAMPP, you actually put all those websites that you want to be running in this folder, htdocs. Okay, so that's where we are going to keep all our websites that we'll be doing in this folder. So We are going to create a directory here, or the folder, okay, in this same htdocs. We're going to call this this website, what do you think we can call it? Okay, we'll call it we'll just call it ICT3. Okay, we'll just call it ICT3. Okay, so now look at this. This name that you give this folder where you're going to be putting all your files for your website actually becomes what? The name of the website. So you need to think through before coming up with a name, because this is the name that is going to be denoting what your name, the name of your website is going to be called. All right? Yes. Okay. So our website is going to be called ICT3. Okay. I sound a nice, pretty name, isn't it? Nice. All right. So now when we open inside this, this is where we're going to be saving all those web pages that we're going to be designing for our website. All right, that's good. So remember, I also asked you to install the Notepad++. Okay, you can also use other development environment for this, for writing code for the website as well. In fact, let me say this, that there are a lot of templates for you to use for websites that you can just edit and customize here and there. But it's important for you to learn how these tags, okay, they are used and how they are manipulated, so that you'll be able to delve into those now real things, okay? So that you'll be able to manipulate those templates easily. Okay. So let me launch the application. Okay, Notepad++. So Notepad++. Okay, this one. You can also use the Windows Notepad. There's no problem. There's no problem whatsoever. So it's also fine. But this one is a little bit more rich than that one. So if you are running this for the first time, you won't find anything like this, what we are seeing here. You'll find instead a blank thing like this one. Yes. Okay. So let's deal with the basic components of the HTML. The basic components of the HTML. Okay. Remember the root what? The root tag, it's actually HTML itself. So the structure is as follows. So there's HTML. Okay. Then remember always, usually these tags come with the opening and the closing tag. So the closing tag will be like that. All right. So when you do this, it's always best to save what you are trying to come up with. This Notepad++ tends to start applying the rules of the language based on the extension that you use to save it. So it's going to know whether this is an HTML page that you are designing by the extension that you are going to give it. For example, if you want to save it as a PHP, as a .php file extension, that means that file that you start working on will be treated as a PHP file. All right. If you save it differently as a HTML, it will also be treated as an HTML web page. Okay. So Notepad++ takes the file extension as the type of file that it is expecting. Okay. So here we are. Now, remember one thing. When you are coming up with a website, the very first page that you see that runs whenever you visit a website, the first page that you see is actually a landing page, or it's the index page. Any website that you visit and you see a page coming, that page is an index page. Okay. So always, even if there are so many web pages in that website, the first page that is called is okay, an index page. That's how it is. So we'll start with an index page. So we'll call this as our index page. But we will say dot, we can say .php if we have PHP running, okay? I think we have Apache Save. Apache runs PHP. Let me just take this opportunity to actually introduce these two concepts. So .php is PHP files also accommodates HTML. A PHP file, a PHP process accommodates also the it accommodates also the HTML. Okay. Presentations like web browser application is able to actually read the HTML on the PHP file. Also, the web browser is able to read the HTML which is on the web page that has a file extension HTML. So browsers have no problems rendering the presentation of a page which is designed in PHP, which has a combination of PHP and HTML. Web pages are able to render the contents of a .php file if it has HTML code, as well as rendering a page which has a .html file extension. So you can either choose the two. Okay, so let's call this one .php. We are giving it .php because later on we want to come and also use this same file, okay, to start now coding logic, because logic will require us to move to the next layer. So at that next layer, which is the logic layer or business layer, we use the server-side language, which is in this case PHP. All right. Okay. So we want to take this file to accommodate both the HTML part and the PHP or the business logic part. If we were only thinking of the presentation layer part, we are just going to store this file as a .html. Now the problem with storing a file like this, it means we cannot use this file, okay, to include also the business layer logic programming language, which is PHP in our case. So that's a limitation when we have this. Of course, the web browser is going to render this similar to the file which is as PHP. Okay. So let me save it as a PHP. Okay. Now we need to know which XAMPP server, okay, which XAMPP folder we are going to store. Remember, we need to look for where XAMPP is. Okay, so our XAMPP is there, and remember we have to store all our files that we are coming up with in htdocs. So whilst we are in htdocs, this is where all the websites are going to be stored. Now remember, we are the ICT3 as our website. So our index page will be kept there. Ah, beautiful. Have you noticed? Now the Notepad++ knows that, okay, now this I'm dealing with a file which is either, okay, which can contain the code for HTML and also a code for PHP. Beautiful. You can even see the path there on top that it is showing where this file is actually. So it's in XAMPP, okay, it's in, of course, it's C, then XAMPP, htdocs, ICT3, and my index is right in here, ICT3. Okay, good. So, like we started, yeah, the root tag is actually HTML. So remember, the basic structure is that what follows is the age, okay, the age. So this two is going to have a closing bracket, So in the head encloses the title of the web page. Sorry about that. So it's going to also have the title. So the title is found there. So this is the basic structure that we are coming up with right now. Okay, so they are pretty the same. Okay, great. So title. Okay, so you see the title, what it renders, and then after the head, we are going to have this important tag there, which is actually the body. All right. So this is the basic structure of a web page. A very, very basic structure of a web page. So, like we learned earlier, this is the place for all the content that we see. Okay. So here we have also the comments. If you want anything not to be displayed, this is how the comment in HTML are written. So the angle bracket and then an exclamation mark and then followed by double lines like that. Okay, minus minus. So we'll write a comment here to say all content, or rather all visible content. We'll say all visible. I have a problem with a V here on my laptop. So all visible content, okay, content will appear here. So this is how we close the comment. We just say, okay, we just put minuses there, two minuses, and we can close it with an angle bracket like that. So this is a comment. This is the comment in HTML. It's going to be ignored. Remember, the browser is the one that processes this page, okay, and renders it according to the tags that we have specified. All right. So this is the basic structure. So if you are not so sure as to whether what we're talking, we can run this page and see how it's going to behave. So to run this page, you just open a browser. You want to run this page. So remember, the Apache is running as a local host. The local host, it means the server that is running this web application is located right here on this laptop. So localhost means the server is right here. So we say localhost slash, what is the name of our website? It's ICT3. Okay, ICT3. Sometimes you can even leave out the index to specify that file, to say an index. The server itself will quickly picks the first file to display. So you can just simply do that. Have you seen? There's nothing to show because in the body here, there's nothing. This is simply what? A comment. So a comment is blank. Okay. So a comment is blank. Now let's have some content here. To say, I'll just type something to say some content. Okay. So I will need to save this and go back to the browser and run this. Okay, so we have some content to show there. So already we can see that the index is being fetched by the browser. Okay, so there's a request. When you type that URL localhost, there's a request that is going to the server. Now the server is local. It's not somewhere like www, maybe stored on some servers remotely. No, it's local on my machine. All right. Fine. Having this now, let's now start looking at populating these tags. Okay, it's like what we have is a frame without what? Without flesh. Okay, what we have is a bone, if you like, without flesh. So now let's start adding flesh to this. So a title will need to be inserted. So we're going to say, we're just going to say, okay, we just call this one to say landing ICT page. Okay, so this will be our title. Okay, ICT landing ICT page. Yes, ICT landing page. Good. So that's our title. So what it is the browser is going to look at this and it's going to treat the contents that were put there according to the tags that are enclosing this text. It's going to know where to place this and so on. Then when we come to the body now, we're going to come up with the title of our website. So there are different tags. So for the head, so there's what we call H1. So H1 is the heading, the top level heading. Okay, it's a top level heading. Okay, for the heading that we want to show on the site. So we have several levels, several layers. So we have level heading for level 2 rather. So we are going to show the difference in levels, what it means. Okay, so level 2 like that. So copy and paste here works best now. So instead of duplicating effort, you just simply copy and paste like that, and then you simply edit. So I'll just edit this. Okay, so I want to show the differences in levels levels of headings. Okay, so this is 4, this is 3, of course, and then there are 5. There are 5 here. Okay, so now we'll see how the browser is going to treat each of these. Okay, okay, so ICT page, see, oh, we can say welcome. So we're going to have the same heading, and then we'll see just the difference of how the web browser is going to treat. It's welcome to web programming. Yes, welcome to web programming. So this is the same header that I'll have copied in each of these headings or tags. So we just want to demonstrate the differences of how the web browser is going to treat the content. So we'll save them. So let's go back. We visit this page and see how it is going to behave. So there we go. So have you noticed the behavior? So here the web browser has read all those different these different heading levels. Of course, with H1 being the topmost, the biggest, the biggest font that you can have. Okay, followed by 2, 3, 4, 5. So have you noticed the higher you go in the number of the level for the heading, the smaller it becomes. So number 1 is the biggest and going down like that. There's no H0. Of course, there's no H0. You have noticed that. So this is how a web browser treats H1 tags. Okay, welcome. Then we also have tags, important tags like P. The good part with the HTML, it's not case sensitive, so you can even mix letters, the cases, there's no problem. Okay, so there is also what we call paragraph. So paragraph page is very useful. Paragraph, okay, paragraph is also written like that. So any text that you want to put and to appear as a paragraph falls in there. Okay, I think the best is for me to get some content somewhere and then paste it there. I shouldn't be thinking about the contents. What we're interested in is how the browser renders the content that we put in there. Okay, let me get some content. Okay, migration tests. I think I'll need some. Okay. Mhm. Okay. Let me just get some stuff from this. No. Never mind. We just want something that is there. Okay, maybe just from here, from this content. Yeah, good. So I have some pieces here where I will get some paragraph. Okay. So we'll see how it's going to treat these paragraphs. So I'll just get some few content out of this as a way to demonstrate what we're trying to do. Okay. So this paragraph is going to be there. Of course, notepads, you need to just do something like this. Okay. So this is a paragraph. So let's have two to see how it treats paragraphs. Content that is the paragraph. So I've just copied and pasted again. So we have two paragraphs. So how do they look? How is a browser going to render this? Let me just get some other text, different text, of course, okay, from the same paragraph. Okay, so there I go. I have it. And I paste it in another paragraph there. Okay, good. So there we paste. Okay. So now we have two paragraphs. So how are these paragraphs going to be rendered? Good. So I simply save and reload this page. Everything. So we have that the two paragraphs. The first paragraph, of course, is longer than the other one. So a paragraph tag makes sure that there is a gap that is left. There's a space between paragraphs. So that's how a paragraph works. Okay. Let's get to see the effects of other tags in our coding. Okay, so if you want to emphasize certain words in your paragraphs, you have other tags or tools to use. So we can say, we can use two tags. Two tags, they work best. We can use what we call B for boldness. Okay, for example, if you want to emphasize that this must be bold, so we have B. So we have B tag like that. And you can also, okay, so you have these tags. So this has an effect too as to how the web browser is going to interpret this or render this tags, the content of that tag. So I will reload to see the effect. Listen, so the B is actually a bold to tell the web browser to say, okay, for these words that I've put in here, in between this tag, is to make it bold. Okay, so we have a bold in copy-paste university there. However, there are also other options. Sometimes you can also say, okay, you can also say strong. So the strong is yet another option that you can use. You can say strong here. Okay, you say strong. So these two has a similar effect. So we reload. Okay, everything. So strong has a similar effect to B. Okay. I think now you can guess what I is going to be like or what effect it's going to have, isn't it? Think of what how you change the font, how you manipulate the font in your Word document. So look at this. So we want to see the effect of I, for example. Right. So I will say there will be I here. So what do you think this is going to, the effect it's going to have on my text? The clue is what happens in Word, yeah? Yeah. Or maybe you are guessing what it is going to do. Yeah. Of course, let's see the effect that is it's going to have over that text that you have chosen. Have you noticed? Okay, here it is. The effect can be seen here. So the I is actually italic. Okay, I is italic. Okay, if you want to italicize the text, then you use I. What do you think the B is going to, rather the U is going to have, the effect it's going to have? What do you think? Okay, let's find out. So we are going to have this. Okay, maybe Zambian University is going to be, want to apply some effect there. So we're going to use U. So what do you think the effect is going to be? So you know what it is going to be, isn't it? Okay, so there we go. U, let's try. What effect is going to have? Okay, there we go. Zambian universities, observe what it is. Only when I refresh this page will the effect be. Right, okay, so U actually means underline. So the U means underline. Okay. So that is how you can apply that. Okay. All right. So that takes us to yet another other tags. There are also tags which can be just one, okay, which are single tag element. Single tag element. We have single tag element, which is okay, such tags as break. Okay, so break has an effect of actually applying what we call carriage return, okay, moving the next sentences where it is applied after it is applied to the next line. So that's what break is. So look at the effect that it has. Okay, of course this sentence, this paragraph is in one line, so there is a break somewhere where we have applied it. So notice the effect that it's going to have. Okay, so we had placed break just after at. We placed break after at there. Okay, so it has broken this line. It has forced the line of text that follows it to the next line. That's the effect. There's also yet another one which is similar, but then, okay, this one has a different effect. It forces, of course, to the next line, but it also draws a line. So this one is actually yeah, an HR, okay? We're demonstrating the effect of what a single element, tag element can have as well. So notice where I've placed it. It's after the acronym CPU there. Look at the effect that it's going to have. So if you want to draw a line, you use that one in HTML. Have you noticed? So this introduces a line. Okay. If you want to underline the text that you're showing, then you use it. Okay. Yeah. All right. Looks like it's quite good here. Oh no. A bit good. Okay. All right. Good. We're seeing different effects of tag elements. Okay. Then we can also move to and demonstrate the lists. Okay. Sometimes you see lists, okay, in HTML pages, isn't it? Okay. Yes. So you see lists in HTML pages. Okay. So lists, okay, are done like this. So there are two types of lists. They are what we call ordered lists and the unordered list. So let's start with the ordered list. So I'll write here the heading to say heading 3 is going to describe what to follow. So what to follow is going to be an ordered list. So we'll say ordered list. Okay. So ordered list, it is written as follows. So O L for ordered list, of course, and then the closing tag is or L like that. Okay. So ordered list. Then inside you are going to have now the list. So the list is going to be li. Okay, it's going to be followed by li like that. So now this starts defining the lists themselves. Okay. So I'll just copy it and I'm going to paste as many lists as many items I would want to appear on this list. Okay, just those are enough. So I will say 1. So it can be anything that you want to list down. Maybe it can be a group of fruits that you want to list down there. So you can put them there. So me, I've chosen numbers 2, 3, 4, 5. You noticed? Now this descriptor here, this tag, also tells the browser how it's going to treat this list. It's an ordered list. So you see the difference between the ordered list and also an ordered list. Okay. There we go. So let's see how is it going to render this. Okay. So we save and then reload this page. Have you noticed? So this is an ordered list. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. So now I want you to pay attention to as to how the other list is going to come up to appear. Okay. So there is this other list. Okay. So this list is going to be an ordered list. So it's going to be UL. Okay. UL like that. Okay. So I'm not going to reinvent the wheel, but I will simply copy this content there and paste it in there. Nice. So let's see the difference. Let's get to see the difference. So I save and refresh this web page. Ah, good. Have you noticed? So which one is an ordered list and an unordered list? Yeah, of course, an unordered list is one that has bullets. The ordered list is one that lists with numbers, okay? So this is the difference between the two, okay? So let's actually label this, of course. Say, okay, H enter 3, okay, enter 3, okay, this is the unordered D, unordered, and you say an. Now there's a big difference in English, and this one. And ordered list. So there's a big difference there. Okay. So that's very good. So this helps us to differentiate what the two lists are. So somebody might demand that you come up with an ordered list in HTML. So somebody may come up with this presentation, okay, and then tells you to say, okay, reproduce this in HTML. You should be able to know what type you have of an ordered list that this person it's asking you to come up with. Okay? Yes. All right. So there are so many tags, okay, that are there. So sometimes you may want to actually apply some effects, huh? Okay, some effects to the page. Okay, first before that, there is also a table. Table also, you can come up with a structure called a table in HTML. So at this point, you want to also come up with, I want to show you how these pages that you can come up with can be connected to each other. How can the pages be connected to each other? Okay, you can come up with different pages or pages. So right now, let me come up with a new page. Okay. So remember, okay, the basic structure. Of course, this will be the last time for me to start typing this because I already have this code. Okay, I already have this code. So it will be no point for me to start typing all the time this. That's why there is copy and paste. So this individual, this person who thought about copy and paste, he was very wise. He wanted to make people's work much easier. Okay, so there we go. I also come up with this body. Okay, body. Of course, there is it title. Title. Ah, well, didn't even show you the title. How the browser treats titles. Okay, I didn't show you that one where a title appears in a browser, isn't it? I'll call this table demo. This table demo. Table demo. Ah, nice. Okay. So have you seen the Notepad++ is not applying color codes to these tags. Why? Because it doesn't know how to treat this file. So I'll save it so that it knows how to treat it. So this is, I'll call this page to say next page, page 2. Yeah. But then I'll specify the file extension which will indicate how the Notepad++ is going to be treating this file. And also, of course, how the server and the browser are going to treat this file. So it will be PHP. So I will save in the same folder which is the website. All right? Okay, there we go. So we want to demonstrate table, okay? So I'll give this heading here, okay? Heading 1, the top level heading, okay? H1. There we go. Okay, so I will say demo table demo. Okay, table demo. Table and of course we'll use this and hyperlink demo. Yes. So how do you come up with a table? So a table is also another structure that a browser renders quite often. You use tables to present various information that requires tabular presentation. Okay. So how do we come up with a table? Of course, the tag is simply table. Okay, then you have the closing bracket. So a table is a structure that is made up of rows and columns. That is important to know. Table is a structure that is made up of rows and columns. Okay, beautiful. So how are rows and columns? How do rows and columns come about? So we have what we call row, of course. TR rather. TR is for row. Okay. So TR for rows. Okay. So TR is for rows. Now these rows are divided, isn't it? Rows are divided. So what we have done is we have just come up with a row in this table. That's what is happening here. TR is actually table row. So now let's divide this row into columns. So how do we come up with columns? Okay, so columns are divided by TD. We don't know why somebody thought about TD instead of TC. Yeah, we don't know some of these tag names, how people were coming up with them. They should have been very descriptive, like the TRI is and the table is, isn't it? But then the columns are TD, unfortunately. Okay, so just see, always remember that it's TD. So this introduces a column. Okay, so how many number of columns I'm going to have is how many pairs I'm going to have of this TD and its closing tag. So this is two what? Two columns, three columns, four columns. Okay, so there. So for you to count properly and see how many columns you have, usually we write in this format of going down. Okay, yeah. So this helps you to know how many columns you have in this row. So I can come up with another what? Another row. So we have one row which has four columns as it is. So I can come up with another row like that. So TR. Okay. So this is yet another row. So for this table to be uniform, I'm going to have again in this same row, I'm going to have four columns. So right now we have this structure of a table. So let's just add content to it. So let's add content to it. So the first column is going to present, okay, we'll say item count. Good. So we'll say item count. Okay, we want to come up with a table that contains our budget as our item count. So this is going to be a row that is going to describe the table headings, isn't it? So item count. So here, item name. Okay, item name. So just pay attention. So we are defining a table which has these column names. Item name. Then we say unity cost, isn't it? Or unit price. We say unit price. Have you seen? So the last one is going to be maybe quantity. Okay, like that. So I think the best is going to be where we have another column, another row, rather. So we have this row up to there. We add another row so that we have at least items there. So this column is the same column where there is item count. Okay, please be careful there. So this TD here, it's actually relating to this column up there. So here we have item count number 1. So item name, we have sugar. Okay, have you noticed? Item name we have sugar. And then unit price, we're going to say, okay, 15 kwacha. I don't know how sugar is costing now. Okay, so 15 kwacha. No, it's not 15. Okay, be as realistic as possible. It's about 60 kwacha, isn't it? 2 kg. Okay, somewhere there. And then quantity, we have 40. Okay, So there's yet another item which is going to be bread. So another item is going to be bread, and then it's going to cost okay, somewhere about 30 kwacha there. And then quantity of bread, we are going to have maybe say 4 loaves. Okay. Good. So we have a table right now. Now this table is without a border. We'll see how it is. Okay. So where we go. So here we'll say, okay, H3, which is going to be table definition. Table, okay, we'll call it the budget. So this table is going to be called the budget. So here we have 3. So H3. Record it here. Okay. There we go. So the budget. So let's see what we have done, how it's going to be treated by a browser. Now, before we move on, remember what is going to come is the index page. What is going to come is this page that we came up with. Remember, the browser or the server saves the first page of a website. So the first page of a website is going to be an index. So right now, we need to have a link of how we are going to see that page to where there is a table. Okay. So let me remove these headings here. We have already seen the effect of those. So now we are going to demonstrate what we call the link. So the link is called hyperlink, anchor tag. So it's called an anchor tag. So an anchor tag is this. Okay. So an anchor tag looks like that. Okay. But then it has some attributes there. So an anchor tag has the first tag having attributes. Okay. All right. So it is going to have href, hyperreference component. So the hyperreference component is the one that points as to where you're going to link this anchor tag to. So we are going to link it to page what? Page 2. So we are specifying where it is going to point to. So page 2 is page 2 dot php. Good. So this is where it's going to point to. So the anchor tag or the hyperreference can even reference what? A URL. For example, this is where you can reference even other links of other web pages. Okay, so if you want to point to CBU, maybe our website is going to point to our a link to CBU website, then this is where we can get a CBU website and paste it in here where we have pasted, where we have placed page 2.php. Okay, it's very important to do that, and you have to make sure that you type it the way it is, named. Now, what is going to be visible is a label here. So you have to provide a label as to, okay, the label that the browser is going to show to a user here. So we say, go to page 2. So this is the label that the user is going to see. So go to page 2 of our website. Yes. So this is the label that the person is going to see. We are demonstrating what an anchor tag looks like. Okay. So we save. The need for us to have this link, because the index page is the one that is going to come, and not that page where we had defined the table. Have you noticed here? So that's the whole essence of putting this tag here. Okay, people. Right. So let's see. So go back and reload this page. Have you noticed? So now we have a link here. So when you just hover your mouse pointer there, you can even see the URL popping up at the bottom there as to where this link takes you. So there I click. You notice there I have. I get to the next page. If you look at the URL, that's what you see there. So have you seen the title of a page? The title actually is placed on the top there, the name of the page. So we have been taken by that link to the next page, which is page 2. All right. So can you see the table? We are the table item count there. 1, 2. Okay. So this is the array row. This is yet another row. So we are the 4 rows. Now, if you have noticed, this table is blank. It doesn't have border and it doesn't look good as a table. Okay. So we go to page 2 and do something. So we need to introduce the border to this table. Okay. So we'll say table border. Okay, table border. Okay. Say what's that? Okay, that's okay. Say okay, well, I'll find out on that one. So there's where you actually introduce now the order of the table. Okay. All right. So we'll learn how to do that. Okay, so we have introduced the concept of a link in our demonstration here. So now when you get to the next page, so it means you would have lost what? You'd have lost as to where you are coming from, isn't it? So you need another link here in the next what? In the next what? In the next page there to take you back to the home, isn't it? The home page. So you're going to come up with an anchor. So say href. Okay. So you do this. Can you guess what you're going to put here as a label? Okay. So you can say index. Okay. So you can say index dot php. Okay. So you can say go back home. Go home. Or sometimes they just say home, isn't it? So when we do this, it means we are now navigating. We are providing navigation for this website. So you can simply go home there. Let me go back and be forth. Go back and be forth. All right. So for today, this is the end of our presentation. This is how we come up with these simple web pages. Okay. Next time that we meet, we're going to look at how we can come up with now dynamic pages. Okay. How do dynamic pages look like? Where you can enter certain things like a form, and of course how they can be saved. Okay. How you can capture a certain input from the user. Okay. And so on, isn't it? So that's what we're going to demonstrate next time. Okay, it's good day for now. It's bye-bye for now. Okay. Seriously? Don't say. Serious. Does not record it. Ah. Why? Let's see. But okay, without it. Oh my. Hey. Yeah. Movie. Let's see. Là, oui. Donc là, on a fait. Exactement.